Hey guys, KRB here, and today we're going to be testing the world's best southern style banana pudding. Before we get into today's video, I just wanted to show you a sneak peek of what's coming next. We're going to be testing some Olive Garden chicken pasta in the crock pot that has all the flavor at a fraction of the cost of the real thing. Be sure to subscribe so you can check it out as soon as it drops. With that being said, let's jump into today's recipe. If you're from the South, you know that banana pudding is a staple for just about any barbecue, get-together, or holiday. Forget Tinder or eHarmony, good banana pudding can get you a date faster than you can swipe right. For this recipe, we're going to need 2 boxes of vanilla wafers, 10 very ripe bananas, 4 cups of milk, 2 1/4 cups of sugar, 4 tablespoons of flour, 1/8 a teaspoon of allspice, 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar, a stick of butter, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon of lemon extract, 1 teaspoon of butter flavoring, and 4 eggs. First up, we're going to add 2 cups of sugar to a pot, 4 cups of whole milk, and a stick of butter. We're going to cook this over medium heat. This is going to make our pudding. And yes, we have to make real pudding, none of that out of the box nonsense. While this is warming up, we're going to jump over and start working on the bananas and the vanilla wafers. Take your first bag and pour most of it on the bottom of your pan and try to spread them out as evenly as possible. Definitely eat a few, because when else do you actually buy vanilla wafers? Once we have this layer down, it's time to add the bananas. We're going to cut up and layer 5 bananas evenly on the top of the first layer of vanilla wafers. Like I said earlier, we want to use very ripe bananas so they're nice and soft. I mean, these bananas are on the verge of going bad, they're so ripe. After we have the bananas cut, we're going to add another layer of vanilla wafers, spread them out evenly just as we did the first layer. And then finally, we're going to add 5 more bananas on top and spread them out evenly as well. With our base set up, it's time to start working some more on the pudding. We need to separate our eggs, keeping both the yolks and the egg whites in different bowls. Set the egg whites aside and get the yolks. That's a fun word to say, yolks. We're actually going to add in about 3/4 of a cup of the mixture that we have heating up on the stove to these yolks, and then whisk it until it's pretty well mixed. Once it's mixed, add this back to the pudding that's heating up on the stove. In another bowl, add 4 tablespoons of flour, 1/8 of a teaspoon of allspice, and about another couple cups or so of the mixture that's heating up on the stove. Whisk this up until most of the flour has disappeared, and then add it back to the pudding mix. Keep mixing the pudding until you finally start seeing it bubble up a bit as it is here. At that point, you can take a spoon and dunk it in the pudding. When it starts sticking to the spoon and getting a little bit thicker, we know it's getting pretty close. From here, it's time to add in the 1 teaspoon of butter flavoring, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon of lemon extract. Mix these in and keep mixing until the pudding is done. Now, I'm not going to lie, this took forever to get this point, and I might have pulled the pudding off just a little too soon, but just keep mixing this pudding until it gets to the consistency that you like. Now that our pudding is done, we're going to pour it directly over the cookies and bananas that we layered earlier. Be sure to take a spoon or something and jug this pudding down into the cookies so you fill every nook and cranny with the pudding. Do this by inserting a spoon in different spots and just kind of lift up on the cookies so the pudding seeps down. Once the base of this dish is complete, it's time to make the meringue. Now, you know, if you see some banana pudding with meringue, that there is a good chance that this is going to be some dynamite banana pudding. Add in the 4 egg whites and get to mixing. Mix it until it starts to get a little frothy and bubbly, and then we can go ahead and add in the 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar and mix this for a bit. Once that's mixed in well, go ahead and add in the 1/4 cup of sugar. All you have to do now is mix until it becomes very airy and almost seems to float. If you're like me and don't have one of those fancy KitchenAid mixers, you're in for a real treat. This takes forever to whip. This had to be whipped so much I thought I was back in the principal's office in grade school. When you finally get it where you want it, we're going to start smoothing this over the top of our banana pudding. Be sure when you do this to create little ridges and folds, so that way when we put it in the oven here in a bit, it browns up in different ways. and lets people know just by looking at it that this is fixing to change their life. While you're spreading the meringue, go ahead and have your oven preheating to 350. Once you finish covering every square inch of the banana pudding, slide it into the oven for about 15 minutes or until it's nice and brown. Time to pull it out of the oven. Ooh, wait, that thing looks good. It looks almost as good as I did in 3rd grade with my sweet bowl cut. Now you already know what time it is. Taste test time. Those of you that have never had hot banana pudding before, you are missing out. I would argue that banana pudding is even better hot than it is cold. Moment of truth. Good googly moogly. This is some of the best banana pudding I have ever had in my life. And that's saying something considering I have eaten a pile of banana pudding in my lifetime. Big shout out to Meso Making It for this recipe. Here's the ingredients list. I went ahead and itemized this list for you just to kind of give you an idea of how much this costs to make. Now this can be made a little cheaper and easier by using box pudding or skipping the meringue, but don't do that. Treat yourself. As far as time is concerned, it took me probably about 45 minutes to an hour making this, and this was my very first time making banana pudding. This will be even less if you have a KitchenAid to do the mixing for you. That's it for this recipe, but I will certainly be making this again next time I can actually go to a social gathering. Thanks, COVID. The original recipe video is in the description, so be sure to go check that out. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check in next time as we taste test Olive Garden chicken pasta. As always, I hope you have a fantastic day.